0440 AM. Strange activity. Detected at 0440 AM local time, early warning systems monitoring a key strategic region detected unusual launch-related activity deep inside Russian-controlled territory. This was not routine. Multiple launch indicators appeared almost simultaneously across separate monitoring zones. At first, analysts assumed a drill. Then the numbers kept rising. 4:47 AM. First alerts triggered. Within minutes, automated systems flagged the activity as abnormal in scale. Heat signatures, telemetry spikes, launch preparation signals. Not one, not 10, but hundreds of indicators. Unverified. Missile count claim. Unverified reports circulating through OSINT channels claimed up to 720 missile-related events were detected during this phase. This number has not been independently confirmed and may include simulated, decoy, or test launch signals. 0455 AM. US bases shift posture. By 0455 AM, US forces in the region shifted posture. Not publicly, not dramatically, but decisively. Missile defense systems went to high readiness. Command bunkers activated air defense crews recalled this was not panic, this was procedure. 0502 AM. What made this different at 0502 AM? Analysts noticed something alarming. The launch patterns were layered. Some signals resembled cruise missile trajectories, others matched ballistic profiles. Several appeared consistent with decoys or saturation testing. This suggested a complex attack simulation, not a single weapon type. 0510 AM. Near US bases. Not at this distinction matters. The launches were detected near regions hosting US military bases, not directly targeting confirmed installations. That difference likely prevented immediate retaliation, but it did not reduce the threat. 5:18 AM. Command level escalation. By 5:18 AM, the situation had escalated to top command levels. Live data feeds streamed to multiple command centers. Threat models recalculated every few seconds. Worst-case scenarios were actively simulated. This was no longer a drill assumption. Unverified intent assessment. Unverified assessments suggested the launch activity may have been designed to test US missile defense saturation limits rather than to strike physical targets. No official intent statement has been released. 0525 AM. Defensive systems. Go live at 0525 AM. US missile defense systems transitioned from standby to active monitoring mode. Radars tracked everything. Nothing was fired yet, but interception windows were calculated in real time. 0533 AM. The number stuns analysts. As the data stabilized, one thing stood out: the sheer volume. Even accounting for decoys and simulations, the scale was unprecedented for peacetime signaling. This was pressure through quantity. 5:40 AM. No impacts confirmed. Despite the tension, one critical fact emerged. No confirmed missile impacts, no confirmed explosions, no confirmed damage to US facilities. This suggested the event was intentional signaling, not an active strike. 0552 AM. The message becomes clear. By 0552 AM, analysts reached a tentative conclusion. This was not about destruction, it was about demonstration, demonstrating reach volume speed and escalation capability. 0610 AM. The launch phase ends at 0610 AM. Launch indicators abruptly stop. No follow-on wave, no secondary phase. The activity ended as suddenly as it began, but the damage, psychologically and strategically, was done. 0630 AM. Silence falls. As dawn broke, the region went quiet. No statements, no confirmations, no denials, just silence. And silence, in military signaling, is never neutral. 7 AM. Strategic shock sets in. By 7 AM, global analysts were scrambling. What did it mean? Why now? And most importantly, how would America respond? Because what followed was not a missile strike, not a public speech, and not an immediate retaliation. Instead, the response came in layers, across air, sea, cyber, and command networks, in a way designed to end the conversation entirely. 7:20 AM. The real response begins by 7:20 AM. The missile activity had ended, but the crisis had not. This is where public perception often diverges from reality, because America's response was not a dramatic counterstrike. It was something far more deliberate. 7:45 AM. Data triage across command centers. At 7:45 AM, multiple US command centers initiated a synchronized data triage. Every detected launch indicator was categorized: confirmed launches, simulated launches, decoy events, sensor artifacts. Analysts separated signal from noise. This step mattered because reacting to false data is how wars begin. Unverified event composition. Unverified OSINT analysis suggested a significant portion of the 720 figure likely included simulated events, telemetry bursts, decoys, and test vectors, not live warheads. Official breakdowns remain classified. 8:30 a.m. Missile defense does not fire. One of the most misunderstood moments came next. At 8:30 a.m., U.S. missile defense systems remained silent. No interceptors launched. No emergency broadcasts issued. No defensive fire. This was not hesitation. This was calculation. Firing interceptors against simulations would have validated the pressure tactic. 9:05 a.m. Why restraint was power? By 9:05 a.m., commanders understood the trap. If the US responded kinetically, it would escalate unnecessarily. It would legitimize the demonstration. It would set a dangerous precedent. Instead, the response shifted to dominance without detonation. 0940 a.m. AR power surges quietly around 0940 a.m. US air operations intensified quietly. Not attack sorties, not strike packages, but persistent presence. Long-range patrols expanded. Early warning aircraft filled gaps. Fighter rotations tightened. The airspace became transparent. Nothing moved unseen. 10:20 a.m. Cyber and electronic response phase. By 10:20 a.m., a less visible layer activated. Electronic and cyber teams moved into defensive-offensive posture. No public disruptions, no blackouts, but adversary command networks felt pressure. Latency increased, redundancy strained, telemetry reliability dip. Unverified cyber effects. Unverified reporting suggests adversary military networks experienced temporary degradation following the incident. No official confirmation has been released. 11:10 a.m. The naval dimension expands at 11:10 a.m. Naval assets adjusted positions. Carrier strike groups altered spacing. Missile defense-capable ships optimized coverage arcs. Subsurface patrols recalibrated. This wasn't a surge. It was optimization. 12 p.m. Midday reality check. By noon, one fact was undeniable. No U.S. base had been hit. No missile impacts confirmed. No casualties reported. The 720 missiles narrative had already begun mutating online. Commanders focused on facts. 12:45 p.m. Diplomacy without concession. At 12:45 p.m., diplomatic channels engaged. No threats, no accusations, just clarity. Demonstrations near U.S. forces increase risk. Risk invites consequences. There was no public reply, but messages do not need acknowledgement to be received. 1:30 p.m. Allied signaling begins by 1:30 p.m. Allies quietly aligned. Joint exercises were referenced. Patrol schedules adjusted. Information shared. No emergency summits, just cohesion. 2:15 p.m. The destroyed everyone myth emerges. This is where the story diverges. Around 2:15 p.m., online narratives exploded. Claims of mass destruction, allegations of retaliatory strikes, fabricated casualty counts, none supported by evidence. But virality thrives on exaggeration. 2:50 p.m. What actually destroyed the threat? By 2:50 p.m., analysts understood the truth. America didn't destroy people. It destroyed the utility of the tactic. Here's how. Missile defenses were proven ready. Without firing, airspace was locked down. Without escalation, command networks were pressured. Without attribution, allies closed ranks. Without announcement, the message was unmistakable. 03:30 p.m. Deterrence without destruction. Deterrence works when the adversary believes escalation gains nothing. By 03:30 p.m., the demonstration had backfired. It revealed capabilities, but also limits. It showed volume, but also predictability. 4:10 p.m. Risk models updated. As the afternoon wore on, risk models changed. Future demonstrations would now be judged more harshly. Response thresholds tightened. Reaction windows shortened. The room for error shrank. 05 p.m. Evening posture holds. By 05 p.m., U.S. posture stabilized. No surge, no retreat, just readiness. This stability is what confused observers expecting fireworks. 6:15 p.m. Night operations phase. After sunset, the most dangerous phase began. Night compresses time, sensors dominate, human judgment is tested, but the night passed quietly. 7:40 p.m. No second wave. Despite speculation, there was no follow-up, no second demonstration, no escalation. Silence silence returned. Silence after a failed pressure tactic is telling. 8:30 p.m. Strategic assessment. Late evening brought final assessments. The conclusion was blunt. The demonstration changed nothing on the ground, but it changed how future actions will be interpreted. 9:20 p.m. Why this mattered globally. Other actors were watching, not just allies, not just rivals. Everyone learned something. Volume alone is not leverage. Threats without intent are empty, and restraint can be more powerful than response. 10:15 p.m. The day closes. As the day ended, there were still no explosions, no retaliatory strikes, no war, but the strategic environment had shifted. What people meant by destroyed everyone. Let's be precise. America did not destroy lives. It destroyed the narrative advantage, the intimidation value, the escalation leverage, and it did so without firing a single missile. That is modern deterrence. This event was never about 720 missiles. It was about testing reactions, and the reaction was measured, layered, and devastating to the tactic itself. Because when escalation gains nothing, when demonstrations fail, the playbook changes. The most dangerous moments today are not loud, they are silent. They happen in data centers, command rooms, and decision windows measured in seconds. This time, restraint held, but next time, that depends on whether pressure tactics continue and whether those who use them remember how this one ended.